Hey guys, Marshall from Limited Resources, and we're doing another draft, and we've got kind of an interesting one here. I decided to try to do a different format from Return to Ravnica just to mix it up a little bit. And we're doing M13, which might seem kind of lame because it's core set, and core sets in the past have been kind of boring, but this one's actually not. It's really fun. M13 is one of my favorite recent limited formats, and we've opened a sweet card with Primordial Hydra here, but there's a bunch of other good stuff in this pack. Arms Dealer, Knight of Infamy, Duty Bound Dead are all excellent, but I think we should just go with the big splashy mythic and try to get huge with this Primordial Hydra, so let's do that. Yeah, it gets massive. It doesn't even have to start off that big either. That's the kind of neat thing about that is that, I mean, if you want, you can just play this as a 2/2 on turn 4 and make them deal with it. They have to deal with it at some point. If they don't, they die. So that's awesome. All right, so let's see what we've got to complement our Primordial Hydra. Well, we've got a Searing Spear, a Prey Upon, and a Timberpack Wolf. I think that it's close. Furnace Whelp is also pretty good. I'm not discounting that. There's also a Scroll Thief, which is just okay. Griffin Protector is quite nice. So there's some decent stuff in this pack, but really for me it's between these two removal options with Searing Spear, Prey Upon. Now, red-green in this set is fine. It's actually a great little two-color combo, and picking up a Searing Spear is fine because I think Searing Spear is a little bit better than Prey Upon, but Prey Upon is really good. And it means that we can stay just in green and we can go into a different color if we want. So I'm just going to take the Prey Upon here because I think it's close. And since we're already just in green, it'll make it a little easier to cast this Primordial Hydra. All right. And we're rewarded immediately with a Centaur Courser. Just a super solid creature. You know, it's nothing to write home about, but man, the guy's just awesome. Stuffy Doll's pretty good too, although not one of my favorites. And a JM Daytome is something I wouldn't mind having for my sideboard at some point. The rest of this pack is fairly mediocre. Spike Baloth is fine as well, but it's not nearly as good as a Centaur Courser. So mono green to start with, but we'll branch off into something else at some point. I just don't know what yet. Of course you can, sir. Okay, so we've opened more awesome stuff, to be honest. We've got an Arms Dealer, which is fantastic. We also passed one in the first pack, but that's not super relevant. There's also a Turn to Slag, a Sentinel Spider, and I really like Duty Bound Dead, although it's probably not on the level with these other guys. So we could just take the Sentinel Spider and be kind of boring. We could also take Turn to Slag, which is clunky but decent removal, or we could go big with Arms Dealer here. Arms Dealer has the biggest upside of all these cards. I think Sentinel Spider is probably the safest pick, though. Sentinel Spider is very good. They call it like the wannabe Sarah Angel. I think I'm going to go with the Arms Dealer here. I really feel like the removal that he brings is really significant. Even just by himself, he can be awesome, but if you combine him with even just a few other mediocre goblins, then he becomes awesome. So we'll see. I'm a little bummed to not pick up that Sentinel Spider, but I think veering over towards red a little bit at this point, especially because, frankly, an Arms Dealer this late is a bit of a signal. It's not a super signal, but it is certainly something to keep our eye on. All right, so a Welcome Turn and a Plummet. Kind of interesting that they counteract each other. There's also a Canyon Minotaur, which is really not that good. We have a rare with Fervor, which is actually just awful. Vastwood Gorger would probably end up making the deck at some point. Plummet or Welcome Turn. We might end up going into blue. It seems kind of unlikely, so I'll probably just take the Plummet. I'm just going to take that for now. Oh, sweet. Acidic Slime or a Deadly Recluse. Wow, these are two awesome picks for our deck. There's also a Battle Jester, which I don't like a lot, but, you know. Another Timberpack Wolf, too, which if you can get a bunch of those, it's awesome. But I'm going to slam Acidic Slime here. I really like Deadly Recluse. It's a great defensive creature, but I think Acidic Slime has enough utility that even though it costs way more, it's better. It's also just an automatic 2-for-1. Love that guy. Yeah, so that seems fine. So we're firmly cemented in green here, but we're not actually in red. It's just a possibility at this point. All right, now we run out. There's nothing here for us. I like this card a lot, but it goes in a much different deck than what we're running, so I'm going to take the JM Daytome. We might even run it. It depends on if we make a bunch of mana or kind of how our board situation, our deck situation comes out. All right, so there's a Yevas Force Mage, which is solid, and we're just going to take it. The War Falcon's pretty cool too, but Yevas Force Mage is fine. Its main use is that it enables an attack that you wouldn't normally get. All right, so there's just nothing in this pack. I'll probably just cut this Walking Corpse, I guess. And I guess I'll cut this Encrust. This Bond Beetle's not good. I don't like playing that card. People try to make that thing work, but it just never seems to have enough punch. I guess we'll take the Wall of Fire just because it's the most likely card we'll play. There's a rare here, but it doesn't really do anything. We certainly don't care about a Scroll Thief. We're going to be able to block that all day, so I'll take a Wall of Fire. All right, Fire Elemental or a Goblin Battle Jester. Well, I guess we'll take the Battle Jester here. I don't think that he's great, but he might make the deck. If we end up like in the next pack at a bunch of red, then he would make the cut. Nothing really here. Again, we'll just take a Smelt. Elmer! Oh, in his bad days. We'll better hide that one. And this is Wargarble. James taught me that. James of Loading Ready Run for you guys that watch their videos also here on Mtgo Academy. All right. What did we pick up? Well, there's a Door to Nothingness for the rare. We're not doing that. It's pretty cool, but yeah, we're not doing that. There's a Primal Clay, which I like a lot. Very versatile creature. Arctic Aven, a card that I had my eye on early in the format. This was, of course, months and months ago, but it's a sweet card still. Of course, not going to work in this deck. There's another Plummet. There's really not much for us. A Mindclaw Shaman or a Primal Clay is kind of where we're at here. We could take, like, the Fairy Invaders is probably the card that I'd like to take the most out of the pack, but I'm just going to take Primal Clay. I mean, it's fine. It's a 3/3 on the ground, or it can be a 2/2 flyer. It's fine. All right, so now we're back to similar picks. Oh, but we get a little bit of a twist here. So there's a Mindclaw Shaman again, which I don't mind. I kind of like that card. I wish it was a Goblin, but it's not. There's also a Turn to Slag, which again is removal that you just kind of need sometimes. A Sentinel Spider, and one of my favorites, a Rummaging Goblin. Yeah, it's not looting, it's rummaging, but it's close enough, and it's quite good. I'm going to take Turn to Slag here, though. Also, there's a Fungal Sprouting, but which is also pretty good. I think it's a little underrated as well, but I'm going to take Turn to Slag. Best card in the pack is probably this one or this one, besides the Turn to Slag, but I'm going to take Slag. I want to be able to kill stuff. I'm going to hide a Plummet here. So we're very light on 2-drops here. We certainly want to look into getting that short up. I don't think we're going to play this. It looks like we're going to be green-red, but honestly, we could still veer. All right, well, we got past an Arbor Elf, which is a card I really would like, but also a Volcanizer, and that's one of the better cards in this set. Instant speed, deals X damage to a creature or a player. You can use it to just finish the guy off or to kill annoying creatures. So we're just slamming a Geyser here. That's a great rip for us. All right, this pack's a little light, but there is an Elvish Visionary, and we really need 2-drops, and this one can help smooth out our mana draws and such, so we're going to take that. All right. Ooh, tough decision, actually. So another Acidic Slime or a second Centaur Courser. This is actually really tough because Acidic Slime is clearly a more powerful card. It also costs a lot more mana. Centaur Courser is a key part to winning a lot of games of Magic, though, in that it fills up this early 3-drop slot and puts out a formidable board presence that makes your opponent deal with it. It can apply a lot of pressure a lot earlier than you'd think. Acidic Slime is a little bit more of a defensive type answer spell. Sure, it can attack, but I mean, a 2/2 attacker after turn 5 isn't exactly amazing. Like I said, it is significantly more powerful, though, than Centaur Courser as far as just overall power level goes. It's actually a really, really tough choice. I think I'm going to take the Courser here. I don't know if that's correct, but my gut told me, so I went with it. All right, what do we have next? Nothing for our deck. Maybe a Fire Elemental. I don't think we're going to need more 5-drop creatures, but I guess we should take it just in case. The card that I would like to take is just this one, but just to get it out, but that's fine. We might need that. Ooh, Flinthoof Boar. That's fantastic. Right in our, Gruul guild here, and we're going to slam it. There's a couple other reasonable cards in this pack, but Flinthoof Boar for us is actually just ideal. Speaking of ideal, There's an Arbor Elf. Yeah, there's a Chandra's Fury and a Reckless Brute. I don't like the Brute much at all. And Fury I do like, but Arbor Elf is where it's at when we have these kind of bigger 5-drop, 6-drop spells. We want this to be as big as possible, obviously. So we just wheel Arctic Aven. All right, well, I'll take it just so I don't have to play against it. But it looks like nobody at the table's in these colors because there's no way that thing wheels otherwise. I'll take a Fog. I'm not going to play it. Oh, sweet. Another Arbor Elf. That is really lucky. This is an 8/4 as well, so I'm surprised that these cards are coming back. We're going to take a Kraken Hatchling because it blocks our coursers, and none of these are playable. We'll just take the land and hope somebody plays one of those junkers. All right. So this deck is coming around quite nicely. We hope for a strong finish in our third pack here, but we're looking to fill in the early part of our curve a little bit more. A few more 2-drops would be nice. Otherwise, yeah, we've got all the tools. We might not run this tome. We might, especially with 2 Arbor Elves. It makes the tome a lot more palatable. I mean, the downside of the tome is its speed. You pay 4 mana, you get nothing. You pay 4 more mana, you tap it, you get the card back that you already used to play it. So now you're 8 mana, basically 2 turns deep into this thing, having done absolutely nothing, and then you're even. That's pretty depressing. Now, if you can use a bunch of your cards like as Arbor Elves to create a bunch of mana, but it also depletes the cards in your hand, you can help offset that with the JMD tome because you'll have enough mana to cast it and maybe even to activate it and maybe even cast something that same turn. All right, Voidstalker's sweet, but obviously we're staying away from anything like that. Sarah Angel, same deal. Blade Tusk Boar or a Deadly Recluse are the 2 choices that we really have here. I actually like Kite Sail in this deck a fair bit as well. I think I'm going to go for the Boar here. Yeah, Deadly Recluse is sweet, and I'd love to have one in the deck, but Boar is just a great beatdown card. It's really tough to deal with for your opponent. Wow, we got a Krenko pass to us. Well, this Arms Dealer looks like he's going to have a whole hell of a lot to do because we are windmilling Krenko for obvious reasons. He's just a bomb. He really is. He's one of the few creatures in the set that can actually just win on his own. Like if you have no board and you play this, he will just win the game on his own, which is a really great thing. Primal Hunt Beast is sweet, but so is Rummaging Goblin, and I'm feeling like I want to have a couple more goblins to throw around to Arms Dealer and to make Krenko a little better, and also just to find Krenko. And our other good spells. So we're going to take Rummaging Goblin here. I want more cheap spells as well. This is starting to make me nervous. Like, we have a pretty nice high end here, but we need to get there. Oh, man. And, of course, I see this Elvish Visionary. I'm like, sweet, that's perfect. It'll help get us there. But then I see a Garruk's Pack Leader and a Silklash Spider, both excellent cards. And we're going to be taking one of these 2 5-drops, which means this guy's out. The question, of course, becomes which one? Garruk's Pack Leader is excellent, but Silklash Spider can do things to the game that other cards can't. And you know what? I think I like Silklash Spider here because I feel like we have some bit of inevitability here. We've got Krenko and Primordial Hydra, both cards that will just win if they stick on the battlefield very long. And I think that this card is a little bit better at making the game go longer. So I'm going to take it. All right. This will work. Not super exciting, but it's a Timberpack Wolf, and we need 2-drops. They're playable by themselves. Of course, if you have multiples, they get much, much better as they pump each other. But even just a bear is fine. Remember, if you take away all the text on this, it's a 2/2 for 2, which is fine. All right. Beast Mode Engage. Another 4-drop isn't really exciting for us, but it's okay. Yeah, this pack just has nothing. I'm just going to cut this thing because it's a little hard for us to deal with. This pack, also basically nothing. I guess we could take this Volcanic Strength since we do have a Primal Hunt Beast and maybe board it in or something. Excuse me, I haven't found this card to be very good. Evolving Wilds and a whole, obviously nobody's in blue. Not that these cards are amazing, but they're certainly playable. I mean, Watercourser is fine. We could take an Evolving Wilds, which helps us smooth out our mana because we do have a bunch of double greens and double reds. It slows us down a little bit, probably not in a super impacting way. That said, we don't really need it. And we could have this Kite Sail if we want. Kite Sail can really do a lot of good things in a green deck like this, like even just making a Centaur Courser a flyer. Yeah, we'll take it. 2 and 2, right? Yeah. Not much going on here. These packs have dried up significantly. Serpent, no, we don't care about that. We're not in blue, so it's probably not going to be attacking us much. None of these really matter for us. We could take this just in case we end up going against something huge. Yeah, that's fine. We have another one already. And none of these are playable, so we'll cut the erase. Cut the big boy here. All right, well, interestingly, I think our deck came out really well, but we do have a few low points. I mean, we have a JM Daytome and a Kite Sail in the deck currently. That said, our high points are really high. We have Krenko and Primordial Hydra, plus Volcanic Geyser. So, yeah, I think this deck looks totally fine. This is probably what we're going to submit, but there might have been something that I forgot or hit or something, so we'll take a look. This is one of the reasons to play the beta client, is that when it goes to the next screen, it doesn't do this whole reset thing. We would just see the same thing that we just saw, but now have access to our hidden cards. But oh well. We're on the old client. Still waiting. Okay, so the tome and the kite sail go here, and let's see what we get. Don't want these walls. Maybe this guy. That might be it. So we need 2 more cards. And yeah, I think we just want another 5-drop. I think that's fine. I mean, it makes our creature count 19, which is kind of insane. But it means we can just run this kite sail and not run the tome. The tome's fine. I like the tome. I explained earlier my thoughts on it, but it's also like, what are we going to draw? Oops, sorry. What are we going to draw here with it? Right? Like, more creatures? I mean, I don't know. Like, card advantage is good, and I can see that. But I don't know. Like, it feels like we've got a pretty high density of awesome stuff. So I think if we find ourselves in a matchup where we're going to be grinding really hard, or where it's very even, we can go for the tome to try to break that parity. But as it sits, I think we can just rely on the strength of our deck to win. So let's add some lands here. It wants to do 8 and 9, which is I'm definitely inclined to do. We've got a lot of double reds, so we can't get away with 10-7, but we definitely want to hedge towards the forests, as we've got double Arbor Elf to help, get us ahead on our mana curve, and we need forests to do that. So this looks good to me. I think 17 lands is still okay. We have quite a few 4/5s and potentially higher here, but that's a lot of 4 and 5 drops. So this is kind of the point of the curve where we really want to get. So 17 plus 2 elves I think is still fine. All right, let's see what this thing can do.